I never would have thought before last night that we would know that we were going to have a game 6. There was always the possibility because the Dodgers couldn't sew it up last night. But in fact, the Toronto Blue Jays evened the score, even against the alien himself. And I don't mean that in any way other than I'm not sure that he is like he's really a creature out of Men in Black, Shohei Ohtani. But he was human last night. John Manuel, my friend, baseball historian, raconteur, all of that. Sir, he bleeds. He actually bleeds.
Isn't that Shakespeare? If I've cut, do I not bleed?
That is very true. I appreciate you working in Shakespeare. What do you think the reason for it was? I know he took an IV. Shohei Ohtani, he played all 18 innings. I mean, the last of it, he didn't really exert himself much. He was intentionally walked essentially 5 times, but he had to stand there on the bases, and he was out there for 6.5 hours. So I don't know. He hit 2 home runs and 2 doubles and ran the bases there. But was it fatigue from the night before? Is it, hey, he's a human being like everybody else? What do you think?
I think he gave up a home run to another freak, Adam.
He did?
Vlad Guerrero Jr. I mean, another total freak. You just to have seen that guy's bat speed in person a few times, it's kind of hard to comprehend how much harder he swings the bat and how much faster he swings the bat than most guys. So he gave up a home run to another total freak, and then he pitched great. But I think the Dodgers' issues are what got him. Dave Roberts has to push him. And so he tried to get one more inning out of him. The Blue Jays, with a taxed bullpen, they got as much as they could expect out of Bieber. He goes 5 1/3, but goes into the 6th. And, the Dodgers let Ohtani keep going. And I just thought he just got gassed. And it's amazing in today's game, when a guy loses it as a starter or a reliever, it's like Carl Lewis singing at the Meadowlands in the early 90s. It's the Rockets' red glare. It's the Rockets. Red glare. I mean, it just Rockets left, right, and center. There's no soft contact. Everyone swings hard.
Right.
When you lose it as a pitcher, everybody in the building knows. And that's what happened. Ernie Clement roped one off the wall. So we all knew you go to the bullpen, and then everybody in the building but Dave Roberts knows that his worst option is Blake Trinan. But hey, thanks to Blake Trinan for coming in.
Well, we'll talk about Blake in a minute, and we'll talk about what Anthony Banda in a minute too. No shade thrown on Ernie Clement here. He has been a very
Rochester's finest.
Oh my gosh, he has been a very popular FanDuel selection. 2 or more base hits. He has been a hit machine in the postseason, so we will have no shade on the former Virginia Cavalier, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I love that guy.
So let me get to the Dodgers pitching issues. They've got incredible starting pitching, and we saw Yamamoto throw a complete game. We saw Blake Snell in the previous series should have thrown a complete game, but for whatever reason, Dave Roberts didn't. And he put the game in jeopardy by going to a bullpen that is good, but it's certainly not. If you made a list of the Dodgers' strengths, I don't believe we would list bullpen in the top 3 or 4 elements, right? So
no question.
And then he goes to Banda right out of the gate. Now he asked Ohtani, or somebody asked Ohtani, can you give? I think it was Mark Pryor, the pitching coach, asked Ohtani, how much more can you go? And Ohtani went 3 innings. He said this after the 6th inning when the Dodgers still had the lead.
Right.
And the problem there is maybe that's ego. Maybe that's, Yamamoto went the distance and he was amazing. And so, I can give you another inning, especially coming off of yesterday where they had 18 innings to cover. And he goes to Banda, and Banda did not have it again. This is the second time.
And he was a huge part of last postseason.
Yes, he was great.
Anthony Banda,
and he had a good regular season. It wasn't amazing, but he had a good regular season.
He's been consistent for them for 2 years, which
Right.
is the number one thing you look for in a reliever. I mean, it's just a very volatile position. So Anthony Banda, former Durham Bulls legend, by the way,
Oh, okay.
2018 Bulls with Willie Adames and Kean Wong. When that team was that was a really good. Brandon Lau was on that team for the Bulls. That was a
Okay.
loaded team. They were fun to scout. I saw them 18 times that year. But Banda has been through it. His off the field story is really interesting. But he was a free agent last January, pitched down at Tread, which is an indoor facility, like a driveline type place. And I saw him throw a bullpen. I talked to him. I really wanted my old organization in Minnesota to sign him. The Dodgers went, and I think actually he was signed by Cleveland and was cut, and then the Dodgers got him. So he's really found money and he's become consistent. But those kinds of relievers, they just have a shelf life. And I
Right.
think we're seeing that Anthony Banda, he might be at the end of his shelf life because he's in that kind of that their B bullpen. Their B bullpen has been terrible.
Right.
And they've been outscored. The Dodgers have been outscored. And we've really played 5 games because game 3 was 2 games.
Right.
But in the first 9 innings of games, the Blue Jays have scored 11, and Yamamoto shut them down, and then 5 and 6. They're consistently getting to the Dodgers starters in a way that no one else has gotten to them in the postseason. And I think that's why this is such a good series so far.
Yeah, and I mean, Toronto, their offense is their calling card. They have good starting pitching, and we're going to see a rematch of Game 1. We'll get to that in a second. But ultimately, this is a team that grinds out at bats. They make you work, which is what I thought was the key for them in Game 1 when they won it. And I guess we can transition there because in Game 1, they made Blake Snell work hard early. And that's why he couldn't last. And that's why ultimately Toronto ended up in front of this series, and that they haven't trailed yet. No, I'm sorry, they did. They lost games 2 and 3. So being down 2-1 is definitely trailing in the series.
They're working. No, they're working from ahead in most of these games. They've really been. It has not been like just a counterpuncher. They've been right there.
Right.
I mean, like this hasn't looked one-sided. Like the only other time in the postseason a Dodgers series hasn't looked one-sided was Philadelphia kind of was with them in a couple of those games. Obviously, 1-1, and they hit Kershaw hard. They had the early lead on Ohtani in Game 1, but otherwise, LA's looked like a juggernaut. That has not been the case against Toronto.
All right, let me add, before we get to the pitching matchup tonight, I want to just go back to one thing from game number 3, because Toronto's manager, was it Brian Schneider? Did I get his name right?
I think it's John.
John Schneider, one of the two. They were giving him a hard time for allowing Ohtani to swing the bat in the 7th inning. Here's the way I looked at it, because you have to think about the consequences of intentionally walking Ohtani, and I get it. He was locked in. He went double, homer, double. Then the double that plated the 3rd run that made it 4-3 was roped to left center field. So I get the idea of intentionally walking him with the bases empty. But with 1 out, even if you get Mookie Betts, it's not going to be a double play, and Betts has not swung the bat well at all. I get it. But you are bringing Freddie Freeman, who, last I checked, is also awesome. And if you bring Freddie Freeman to the plate in a game that you lead, you are asking to lose. And that, to me, is where I would not have I thought the right decision was, okay, if he goes yard, we're just tied. And I thought that was the right decision to do that then. And then after that, once you're tied, you never want to let him swing the bat. So I thought the rest of the game was done properly. But how did you process that strategy?
No, I'm with you. And, Sir Anthony Dominguez is, a young veteran with elite stuff. I mean, it's huge stuff. I think Jim Palmer actually had the tweet. I don't know if you saw this, because he pitched for Baltimore for
I didn't know that.
Around one season. And Jim Palmer tweeted, Sir Anthony Dominguez has amazing stuff. It's a shame no one has ever taught him how to pitch.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not going to improve on that. So I'm going to quote Jim Palmer, going to point to the passer, Dean Smith style.
Very nice.
And just say, that says it all. Like, you just don't go middle 98 against Shohei Ohtani and get away with it. And the thing is, you definitely don't in this postseason. He's been all over. He's had some big strikeout runs. He's had some slumps. But if you make a mistake, it's leaving the yard.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy lives for these moments. And I just almost feel like we're steamrolling toward a Game 7 that's going to be like 2023 WBC Redux instead of Trout versus Ohtani, What if we get Vlad Jr. against Ohtani, like in a crucial situation in Game 7, Ohtani out of the bullpen in a late
Right.
game? And, in the first inning, Ohtani threw down the gauntlet last night, struck out Guerrero on 3 pitches. But then he got because Vlad Jr. hit the 2-run homer. These guys, that's what the money's for. This is
Yeah.
$1.2 billion in contracts. And you see why. These guys are different beasts from everyone else. So it's breathtaking in some ways to watch. It has been an extremely entertaining series.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I think game number 3, even the half that I saw,
You saw the good half.
It slowed down, and I know exactly when I fell asleep, because when Sasaki was coming in out of the bullpen, that's it. I didn't see him throw pitch 1. I saw was it Dreyer leave? I saw him, and I was done. I fell asleep, and I missed the next 10 innings of that game.
You were like everyone else. You thought when Kershaw came in, it was over, but in the other way.
So look, I honestly, it's been a great series. The television ratings, when you combine Canada and the U.S., prove that out. More than 20 million people have watched, all of these games, and it's going to get bigger. Historically, these things always get larger, the audience. I want to go back to game 1, because this is the matchup we're going to see tonight. And I can't help but think, John Manuel, that Trey Savage going that 4th inning, when he clearly didn't have – first inning he looked like he had good stuff, and it was the first time he had ever worked on regular rest, 4 days rest, and it's going to be the same way tonight. But to me, getting the 4th inning and getting through that inning was as big an inning as Toronto has had on the mound this entire series.
It's just so big for them, because the less you use the bullpen, the better for both these teams. But also for him, his signature pitch is the split.
Right.
The things that set him apart are his physicality, the high release point, which is unusual. He's got firm stuff, but the split is the separator pitch. And he threw, 10 or 11 in game 1? And I think that rest and that different, just the different routine was a part of that, because a split can really be a feel pitch. But now he's done it once, and he's also shown to himself, I can get outs and I can survive without, being perfect. So I think there's an advantage for the Dodgers, and that they're at home. So you have the traject machine. If people don't know what that is, that's basically a pitching machine simulator that's more advanced than you think. So,
okay.
Like, just when you can't, it basically has a screen that simulates the pitcher's delivery, and you can time it up better than you ever could before. So, but you can't take that machine with you on the road. That's a home advantage. So the Dodgers are facing him a second time. They've seen him, and they have the traject. So that's an advantage for them. But the advantage for you Savage is, now I've done this before.
Right.
Now I've been in this environment, and now I know how to deal with it. So, I mean, it really does set up really well. The advantage, the other advantage for the Dodgers is Blake Snell had just been so good the last few years.
Yeah.
I just don't see him being that imprecise a second time. And he had 11 days of rest, and sometimes too much rest correlates with a lack of command. And I think he's going to be a little bit more locked in. But he also should be shamed, because Yamamoto went to the bullpen to pitch on 1 day's rest, wanted to pitch the 19th inning, and that should have been Blake Snell. So if he's picked up on any of Japanese culture, he's got a little shame from Yamamoto going out to the bullpen, where Roki Sasaki walks past Sasaki in the dugout, and Sasaki looks at the camera and goes, "For real?" I mean, nobody could believe it, but that's the kind of thing that can lift a whole pitching staff. So I expect we're going to get Blake Snell's best in Game 5.
Oh, I think we will too. We'll see if Toronto can grind out at bats and make him throw 20-plus pitches in the first inning. It was nearly 30 pitches, I think,
Yeah,
in
it was
the
up to
first
30,
inning.
and that really did. I think it had an effect.
Oh, I thought the 4th inning for Savage, who did get Ohtani on a split-finger fastball to strike him out,
Right.
To lead off the game. I thought the 4th inning for Savage and the 1st inning, Toronto's at-bats against Blake Snell, were 2 of the biggest factors in that Game 1. All right, John Manuel, my friend, baseball historian, I appreciate you, and we will check in again soon. I can't wait. We're going to have a Game 6. and I am looking forward to it. Of course, I will have a conflict. Will I have a? Yeah, I'll have a conflict. No, I won't have a Yeah, I'll have a conflict tonight. I don't know. Friday is Game 6, right?
I believe that's the
Friday.
case. I think we're going to have a Game 7 too.
I will have a hockey conflict for Game 7. I will have no hockey conflict for Game 6. John Manuel, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.